Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Azra Hassan. Let's first take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Tense situation opposite the Padmastri police station after suspect dies in police custody. Opposition voices their objection against the minister in charge of the police. Prices of vegetables and chicken skyrocket. Gas queues in several parts in the island. Protests opposite the Sapukaskanda oil refinery. Trade unions allege of an attempt to sell the refinery. Polonnaruwa Kidney Hospital ignored. A revelation by the former president in Parliament.
පොළොන්නරුවේ වකුගඩු රෝහලේ මම ඉතාමත් කනගාටුවෙන් කියන්නට ඕන එක්ස්රේ කාමරා අද වෙනකන් ඇරලා නැහැ. රෝහලට අධ්‍යක්ෂකවරයෙක් පත් කළා නැහැ.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
A tense situation arose opposite the Padmastri police station in Ambilipitia after a suspect died while in police custody.
The deceased suspect was the 38-year-old father of three who was arrested by the Padmastri police last night. Relatives of the deceased and area residents staged a protest opposite the Padmastri police station and alleged that the death is suspicious.
He was arrested as he failed to appear before the police for 3 days after he was summoned to inquire into a complaint filed by his wife regarding a dispute between them. It was then that they assaulted him and took him away. 3 police officers were there. They came close to the shop at about 9 in the night. We heard loud cries. The police were assaulting Uncle Indika. Then I asked the police not to assault him like that. Then the police caught me by the shirt and assaulted me. I have the scars. Later, the entire village came there. The police said that the deceased suspect had brutally assaulted his 14-year-old daughter on the 12th of this month. The child had been treated at the hospital for 4 days and the suspect was summoned to the police to inquire into the matter. The police added that, however, the suspect was evading the police and that a mobile unit of the police was sent to apprehend the suspect after his wife had lodged a second complaint. According to the police, the suspect was brought to the Padmastri police station at about 9:45 last night. The police added that the suspect had hanged himself between 3:30 and 3:40 this morning. Meanwhile, Minister of Public Security made a clarification in Parliament this afternoon regarding the incident. He constantly assaults his wife and children. There were many complaints filed by his wife and children. He had tied his shirt onto a piece of wire and hung himself. The police constable saw him when he was about to die and immediately took him to the hospital. He passed away while he was being taken to the hospital. After the statement of the Minister of Public Security was telecast, the group outside the police station voiced their objection against the journalist. The group had dispersed in the evening. 2 police officers have been interdicted over the incident.
Trade unions staged a protest opposite the temporarily shut down Sapukaskanda oil refinery this afternoon. The trade unions allege that the shutting down of the refinery is an attempt to sell it off.
The protest was organized by several factions including the Petroleum General Employees Union and the Commercial Industries and Progressive Employees Union. The protesters demanded the government to bring down the necessary amount of crude oil to start operations at the oil refinery once again.
The operations at this refinery will ensure the sovereignty and the independence of our country. There is a system in place at the refinery and at the head office to determine the required amount of crude oil when the tanks run low on oil. According to that system, the officials pointed out that all the 8 tanks will be empty on the 15th of November. Operations at this refinery were carried out in such an ill manner that even the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation incurred losses. As a result, the refinery has to run out of oil. What will happen if we will not be able to provide necessary amount of oil to the Ceylon Electricity Board? The country will have to experience a blackout. What will happen if we will not be able to provide jet fuel? We are legally bound to provide fuel to these entities. Now this has become a national issue.
The Sapukaskanda oil refinery. This is started in the year 1969 in the month of August. Now, what is going to happen to the Sapukaskanda oil refinery? This has the capacity to refine oil, crude oil, of about 5,200 metric tons. But now, petrol and diesel is what we as consumers use mainly. But from the Sapukaskanda oil refinery, we only use about 15% of petrol on a daily basis and about 30% of diesel on a daily basis. Though this is the case, there are several other products that are refined at the Sapukaskanda oil refinery that are required by the general public on a daily basis. When the Sapukaskanda oil refinery is closed down for 50 days, what is going to happen to the general public and what is going to happen to these products? That is what we are going to find out today. Now, what are these other products that we are talking about? According to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation website, there are several products that are coming out of the refining process that are required by us as a nation and the general public. One such product is the LPG gas that is being used, that is a byproduct of the entire refining process. Another product is naphtha. Now, that has been broken down into light naphtha and heavy naphtha that results in the creation of petrol, the daily used petrol. Then there is another product that is kerosene, and that has been broken down into jet fuel and illuminating kerosene, the kerosene that we use for household matters. Then that goes into gas oil, which can be broken down into diesel as well. As a byproduct, there is also tar that comes out of this entire process, and these are some of the products that are coming out through the refining process. Now then, where is the problem? Now, out of this entire process, the furnace oil that is created, the kerosene and the jet fuel that is created are all 100%, the requirement of it is 100% fulfilled through the refining process on a daily basis. Now, if that is the case, and if as a country we are experiencing a dollar crisis at the moment, if we are to import these products from other countries, that too will require dollars. So that really doesn't give us a solution to the dollar crisis when the Sapukaskanda oil refinery is shut down for a period of 50 days. That is problem number one. Problem number two is when these items are to be brought down as refined products from other countries, from international sellers, what are they going to do? What is the system that they are going to bring this down under? Are they going to impose a spot system? Are they going to take a look at a tender process? Whatever or however this happens, there might be certain questions and eyebrows that are raised at times like this when there is an emergency and when these things are done in a rapid pace. So that is question number two. Question number three is kind of unique to the Sri Lankan climate and the weather system. Now, as of right now, the furnace oil that is used for the generation of electricity stands at about 1.9 to 2%. That is because there is adequate rainfall in the regions that require them to generate hydroelectricity. But if there is a requirement within these 50 days when the power plant or the refining plant is closed, or if they extend the period of 50 days where it is closed, and if there is a reduction in the rainfall as we discussed, then where are we going to supply the furnace oil that is required for the generation of electricity as required by the national grid, general public, you and I? So that is also the other question. There are three problems that arise as a result of this Sapukaskanda oil refinery being shut down. We are having a requirement, a daily requirement, and the requirement is fulfilled 100% on a daily basis. That is kerosene oil, jet fuel and furnace oil. All these three have to be imported if the oil refinery is closed for a prolonged period, and if that happens, that does not provide a solution to the dollar crisis in the country. Question number two, when these things are brought into the country in terms of being imported, then if certain processes are used, expeditious methods are used, there could be a chance where corruption happens and certain parties line their pockets using this emergency situation in the country. Question number three, if furnace oil is required to generate electricity in the country, and if that is being used to generate electricity in the country, we do not have that problem right now as we speak because there has been an adequate rainfall. If that is not the case for a prolonged period, then where are we going to get the furnace oil from? Are we to import that as well? Wouldn't that also cause a pressure on the rupee and the dollar crisis would strengthen? These are the questions that we have at the moment when we take a look at the situation surrounding the oil refinery in Sapukaskanda.
Against a backdrop where long queues are seen across the country at filling stations, Minister of Energy Uday Gammanpilla says that shutting down the Sapukaskanda oil refinery will not disrupt the supply of fuel in the country.
There
is no fuel shortage. When media gives airtime to an individual whose profession is spewing lies, the people trust the media they have selected and quickly make their way to the nearest filling station. Every filling station has fuel sufficient for only 2 days. So when a person usually pumps 1,000 rupees worth of fuel, decides to fill their tank, the fuel sufficient for 2 days at a filling station runs out in half a day. Then only we can see long queues at filling stations until the fuel is restocked. On the one hand, there are long queues seen when everyone goes to filling stations to pump fuel, and on the other hand, when everyone fills their tanks, it automatically creates a fuel shortage in the country. The situation will become back to normal in 2 to 3 days.
Many queues of people waiting to purchase fuel were seen in several areas across Colombo and its suburbs.
Former Minister of Power and Energy Susil Premadasa today spoke in Parliament regarding the closure of the Sapukaskanda oil refinery.
In 2011, the United States imposed sanctions on Iran. We used to import crude oil from Iran for 20 years, but we had to stop it. Chase Manhattan Bank did not make the payments. That is where all the dollar payments go through. What did we do? I spoke with the Iranian ambassador to Sri Lanka, and we brought down 2 oil tankers without LCs based on trust. We have to still pay $280 million, but we did not close down the refinery. We made alternate arrangements. Therefore, I suggest that we use our diplomatic ties for matters like this. I heard someone saying that there is no shortage in kerosene oil. Kerosene is not produced in any refinery in the world other than in Sri Lanka. They produce Jet A1. That is the refined product above kerosene oil. The oil used in jets is Jet A1, and it has an odor like kerosene oil. When 500 tons of kerosene oil is lost, this will affect the station is not making losses because of their own faults. They suffered losses as a result of the hedging deal. They have a history like that. The oil tankers were given on a lease. Power holds a key position in the economy of our country. Whether or not economy of the country will move forward depends on the power sector of any country. Therefore, we should prioritize finding solutions to the power crisis.
Former Minister of Petroleum Resource Development Chandima Virakodi expressed his stance on this matter. As a country, it is profitable for us to import crude oil and refine it rather than importing refined oil. A country like Singapore, which does not have a drop of oil, has 8 refineries. We bring a majority of the refined oil from Singapore. Kerosene oil and jet fuel are of the same variety. If we have to import kerosene oil, we will have to bring it down at the same price as jet fuel. The fishermen will have to face a great challenge due to this. Furnace oil is required to carry out operations at power plants. There will be some comfort at this moment because the hydropower plants are operating at high capacity due to the heavy rains experienced. But this will be one of the fundamental reasons for a power crisis when the heavy showers come to an end. Trade unions today spoke about the additional expenses incurred due to the closure of the refinery. The price of a refined barrel of fuel is $15 more expensive than a barrel of crude oil. In addition to the tar that is lost due to the closure of the refinery, 4,850 tons of refined fuel will have to be imported. There are 8 barrels per metric ton. Dear parents and children, please calculate this and look at the price. If this is imported at a price $15 higher, the import of medicine, milk powder and gas will have to be cut down by 20% after the next 2 weeks. The Minister of Finance admitted that there is a dollar shortage in the country. The government has admitted this. By this, more dollars will have to be spent. Although the Minister of Finance does not understand that, everyone else does. Therefore, is the closure of this oil refinery the result of a conspiracy? When refined oil is purchased instead of crude oil, they will get commissions. The premium is the shipping costs and the insurance cost. When a group is formed for an insurance, we get a commission. The commissions are paid even for lorries, let alone ships. You can select who or which group gets the commission. This is a serious crisis.
Long queues to purchase gas were observed even today. This was the situation at an authorized gas dealership situated opposite the Rankoth temple in Panadura.
This is what happens to the general public when those who do not have an iota of knowledge in politics become politicians.
Many consumers were rendered helpless since multiple gas dealerships along Baseline Road in Colombo were closed this morning.
We have been here since 8 a.m. It is almost 10:30 a.m. Are we to go back to our jobs or stay in queues? Will the government give us money?
Gas dealerships and storage compounds in and around Galle were also closed today.
Against a backdrop where long queues are seen at filling stations and to buy gas cylinders, the price of vegetables has skyrocketed as harvest across the country has reduced drastically. Only limited stocks of vegetables were brought to the new Manning Market complex in Palliagoda.
Manning Market එකේ 40 වසරක ඉතිහාසයට මම දැකපු අභාග්‍යම සම්පන්න කාලය තමයි මේක. මේක දෙසැම්බර් මාසෙ වෙනකොට ගොවියන්ගේ නිෂ්පාදන නැති නිසා සමහර විටක කුකුල් මස් කිලෝ එකකට රුපියල් 1500 විතර යන්න ඉඩ කඩ තියෙනවා.
A shortage of vegetables was seen at the Dambulla Dedicated Economic Centre as well.
දඹුල්ල ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානයට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කිලෝ ලක්ෂ 20ක් 25ක ප්‍රමාණයක් එළවලු එනවා. නමුත් මේ දිනවල අද දිනේ නම් ලක්ෂ 4ක් 4.5ක් විතර ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි මේ වෙනකොට දඹුල්ලට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
The Katugastota Special Economic Centre receives 1 million kilos of vegetables daily. Now it has gone down to 100,000. The supply of vegetables to the Tamuttegama Mahavali Economic Centre has been hampered as well.
මේ වෙනකොට 70ක් වගේ ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානයේ පහතරට එළවලු අඩුවීමක් සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. වෙනද වෙන්නේ මැදමුල්ලට තමයි අරන් යන්නේ බත් ටික.
Against a backdrop where the supply of vegetables to economic centres has been hampered, what fate will befall on the local market? This is a comparison of vegetable prices today and 3 months before.
The price of chicken in the local market has also shot up exponentially. A kilo of chicken was sold at 830 rupees at several outlets in the city of Colombo today.
කුකුල් මස් 800යි පාලනේ මිලක් නෑ මේක ඇවිලා
කිලෝ 3ක් ගන්න පුළුවන් සල්ලි ගන්න කුකුල් මස් කිලෝ එකකට යනවා දැන්.
ඉතින් ඇවිලා රට යන්නේ තාත්තට මොනවා උගරුවත් අර ජීවත් වෙන්න බෑ. දැන් අපේ වයස ගියේ 68යි අපේ වයස. මේ වගේ ආණ්ඩුවක් අපි දැක්කම නෑ.
The fertilizer and the chemical pesticides issue has not been solved as of yet. Farmers in Dumana, who are part of the Rambakanoe settlement, have been severely affected due to the lack of fertilizer to begin their cultivations. Farmers who have cultivated about 300 acres in the area point out that although they are in the final stages of sowing their seeds, they have not yet received any fertilizer.
මේ වෙනකන් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් දෙනවා කියපු නැනෝ නයිට්‍රජන්වත් කිසිම දෙයක් මේ ගොවියන්ට තාම හම්බෙලා නැහැ. කේකාගෙන් අපි ඔය ට්‍රැක්ටර් අරක මේක.
We borrowed tractors and other items items from shops on credit to cultivate our fields. Now we are in debt to them and we have no way to pay them back.
දරුවෝ බඩගින්නේ අඬනවා මොනම පොහොරක්වත් මේ වෙනකොට මේ ලැබිලා නැහැ.
Chemical fertilizer that was banned for all other fields in the country were being used at the paddy fields managed by the Department of Agriculture in Kantale. Farmers allege that chemical fertilizer is being used for the seed manufacturing fields of the Department of Agriculture in Kantale. About 50 acres of soil at this paddy field is being tilled for cultivation during the Maha season.
අපිට තමයි මේ තනිකර කොම්පෝස්ට් ගහන්න කියන්නේ. කොම්පෝස්ට් ගහලා කරන්න බෑ. මේ මඩ පොර තමයි මේ තියෙන තනිකර මඩ පොර. මේ අවස්ථාවේදී බීජ කොයිපලේ දැන් මේ
They are sowing seeds on this paddy field using chemical fertilizer. The adult crab is walking sideways and asking the small crabs to walk straight. Is this the policy of this government? We would like to ask the president, where is the concept of one country, one law?
එක නීතියක් එක රටක් කියන එක කෝ කියලා අපි ජනාධිපතිවරයාගෙන් අහනවා.
Has the government tracked back on its fertilizer policy?
Cabinet approval has been granted to obtain specific types of fertilizer required for crops such as tea, rubber, coconut and certain vegetables. Approval has been granted to import specific types of fertilizer applied to certain types of crops. A committee will provide oversight to this task. For example, types of flowers. There are certain solutions such as Albert solution. I am not an expert in agri-technology. Only the Ministry of Agriculture has been granted permission to do so. Not everyone can import it.
කෘෂිකර්ම අමාත්‍යාංශයට තමයි ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා අවසරේ ලබා දුන්නේ. ඕන කෙනෙකුට ගෙන්නන්න බෑ.
We are now beginning to see how unsound, short-sighted and unscientific it is to decide to completely convert to 100% organic fertilizer cultivation during a single season.
එකක් කඩතොළු වසා ගන්නට ගොහින් මට වුණු කාර්යයා දෙකක් කඩතොළු හදා දුන්න ඉඳුරුවේ ආචාර්යා වගේ කඩතොළු රාශියක් දැන් ආණ්ඩුව හදලා තියෙනවා. 1960
The government has created many issues. Just because you studied agriculture for the ordinary level exam in 1960, you cannot find solutions to the issues in the agricultural sector today.
Stay with News First. We will be back after this short commercial break.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Welcome back to the news. Incidents where police had obstructed protesters travelling to Colombo to attend the protest march organised by the Samaga Jana Balawegi yesterday featured in debates that arose in Parliament today. During the debates, parliamentarians of the Samaga Jana Balawegi held placards and protested against these moves.
Yesterday we organised the protest. It was not banned by the courts. Against such a backdrop, the Inspector General of Police informed people that the protest was barred by courts and created chaos.
Under which law did the IGP issue these circulars and implement these orders? The police is violating the rights of the people. These short-sighted actions of the government adversely affected many unarmed people who were just trying to come to Colombo to voice their concerns. I request you to inquire into this matter.
විශාල හිරිහැරයක් කරයි කියන එක අපි කියන ඔබතුමාට ඒ ගැන පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න කියලා.
කරුණාකර ඔය සම්බන්ධයෙන් විවාදයක් ඉල්ලගන්න. අද ඔය කටයුත්ත කරන්න බෑ.
එතකොට කොළඹ නගරේ කිසිම
No court in Colombo gave any order against this protest. Against such a backdrop, how can the IGP act in this manner? He didn't allow anyone to even park a vehicle within the Colombo city limits.
ඔක්කොම වාහන ටික ඊයේ කොළඹ නගරේ අයින් කරා පාකින් එකක් නැවතුවා. ඒයිද ගරු කතානායක
ඒක දැන් ඔබතුමාලා පැමිණිල්ලක් කරලා තියෙනවා පොලිසියට. හරි.
ගෝවියෝ රජයේ සේවකයෝ කර්ම.
When all communities in the society, including professionals and farmers, stand against the government is using the police to suppress their voice. The government is scared of the Samagi Jana Balavegir and the voice of the people. The Pohottua does not have any supporters. When you don't have support from the public, this government went to the extent of using the police to threaten the local government members of our party at their homes. You should all be ashamed.
තමුන්නාසලා තර්ජනය කරා. බොහොම ලැජ්ජයි. අයියෝ ඔන්න සෞඛ්‍යදී ලැජ්ජයි. ඔන්න එනවා. මානව තමුන්නාසගෙන් තමුන්නාසලාට
You cannot suppress the people's power using the police. We would like to thank the government for paving the way for us to organize more protests island-wide. Our initial plan was to organize one large protest, but the acts of the government allowed us to stage 100 protests across the island. We are not going to stop here. We will take legal action against the people who try to violate the right of speech of our citizens.
භාෂණයේ නිදහසට විරුද්ධව කටයුතු කරපු අයට අපි නීති මාර්ගයෙන් කටයුතු කරන්න අපි දැන් අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගන්නවා. බයයි
The minister in charge of police attempted to sabotage our protest using the police, but we were able to bring thousands of people to Colombo and show you the opposition against the government. This is just the start. As the Samagi Janabala Vegya, we will bring thousands and thousands of people to Colombo, and we will march together to defeat this government.
මේ ආරම්භ කරා විතරයි අපි ඊළඟ සැරේ කොළඹ පිරෙන්න ආණ්ඩු එලවන්න සෙනග ගේන්න කටයුතු අද මට පේනවා තමුන්නාසලා එක්කෙනෙක්වත් අර එක පිස්සෝ එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නේ කැරෙන්න කවුරුත් මේක බේරගන්න කටයුතු කරන්නේ අනාතර මෛත්‍රීපාල
I can see that besides a few, no one is standing up to defend this. The former president Maithripala Sirisena is also demanding for fertilizer to be given. There are about 40 members of your government waiting to leave the government. We would like to say that the lifespan of this government is short. That is why they are silent. A few are just shouting with nowhere else to go.
This party staged a very unsuccessful protest yesterday. When all parties in other countries are trying to unite and save their countries from the virus, the opposition should join hands with the government and try to defeat the virus. It is shameful that the opposition has joined hands with the virus and is trying to overthrow the government. The police do not operate on their own whims or on the whims of politicians. The police are now working on the orders of health officials. If public health officials are saying that these kinds of gatherings will increase the spread of this virus, then the opposition does not have any moral right to stage such a protest. If there is another wave of COVID-19 in the country and the country has to be placed under lockdown, the opposition will have to be held responsible for that. The police department that I command has some dignity. We will not forgive anyone who tarnishes that reputation. We will take action against them using the law.
Minister of Finance Basil Rajapaksa, Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwella and Samagi Janabalawegaya Parliamentarian Rajitha Senaratne were all present at the event today. The event was held to declare open a medical equipment manufacturing plant in Raigama Bandaragama. Journalists questioned the policymakers during the event as to whether there are plans to create a coalition government.
We never declined it. Joining hands to resolve a national crisis is not an issue. That is what should happen ultimately, but it does not happen. We attempted it in 2015 but failed. Even the coalition created during Chandrika Kumaratunga's time was also a failure. It would be beneficial for the country if it happens in the future.
Rajitha Senaratne also expressed views regarding a regime change.
Not only the SLFP, many factions within the government have held talks with us to break away from them. Some of them are attempting to move away and create a change. However, we discourage them because we need to ready ourselves to establish a government. With anyone, we will establish a broad, united front and topple this government. When you wake up one morning, the news will say a regime change has occurred. The government will never go home during Vesak or Poson. It will only go home during Sunday sermons.
Let
anyone come. The question is who will control the government. We need to realize the shortcomings of the past and do the needful.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, former President Maithripala Sirisena, said in Parliament today that the authorities have not given sufficient attention to the new kidney hospital in Polonnaruwa.
මම ආගෙන හිටියා මාධ්‍ය තුලත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කීප තැනක කීප දෙනෙක් කියනවා.
I heard people saying on media and in parliament that the new kidney hospital in Polonnaruwa will no longer be effective when the country fully shifts to organic fertilizer from chemical fertilizer. When Honorable President Gotabaya Rajapaksa declared open the hospital, he instructed authorities to make the hospital fully operational in 3 months. It is with regret that I have to note that the general radiology rooms have not been opened as of yet. There is no Director General at the hospital as of yet either. Laboratories are not open. There is a CT scanner that costs around 150 million rupees at the hospital. The scanner is placed in a locked room. There are 6 operation theatres to perform kidney transplants. They are not operating as of now. The hospital not having a Director General is a serious issue. People across the country are looking forward to receiving treatment at the new kidney hospital in Polonnaruwa.
The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka handed over the Padmastri award given by the Indian President to Dr. Vajirachitra Sena in the presence of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today. She was recognized for her valuable contributions in the field of art, further strengthening India-Sri Lanka cultural ties. The following views were expressed during the 4th day of the second reading of the Budget 2022.
We are currently at the edge of a downfall. No one can blurt out lies about recovering from it by coming to power. One of your members in the opposition said a war has to end at some point, and Mahinda Rajapaksa was coincidentally the president when it ended. According to that theory, Gotabaya Rajapaksa happened to be the president when we hit a recession. What to do? The United States is the utopia most of those on the other side dreams of. However, America is the country with the highest number of homeless people.
යුටෝපියාව අද ඒකේ තමයි ඉතිහාසයේ වැඩිම ඒගොල්ලෝ හිඟන්නෝ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ homeless people හරි වැදගත් වැඩිම homeless people ලා ඉන්නේ අද ඇමරිකාවේ මේ වකවානුවේ මොකද ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ඒ චෝදනාව දාලා වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
That allegation does not relate to the president. Find novel ways to protest in the new normal. Do not follow the conventional method. I have publicly spoken about New Fortress and I will repeat it here. What is the issue? There is a court case concerning New Fortress. Minister Vasudeva, Gammampila and myself will appoint an attorney to speak on our behalf to express our opinion on the matter. Do not mess it up.
වෙනම නීතිඥයෙක් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා අපේ මතය අපි උසාවියට ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඒක තමුන්නාසලා පටලවා ගන්න එපා. දැන් අපේ රටේ තියෙනවා බොරු ඇමරිකන් විරෝධයක්, බොරු චීන විරෝධයක්.
There seems to be an unwanted hatred towards the US, China and India in the country. There are many reasons to say so. I do not wish to vilify their opinions, but we need to look at their consumption habits. If Facebook is American, Apple phones are American. If Hutch phones are Chinese, three-wheelers are Indian and watches are Swiss, we need to reassess our dissent over these matters. We not only need to assess what we say, but also what we consume.
කටෙන් පිට වෙන දේ වගේම කටට දාගන්න දේ ගැන අපි සලකා බලන්න ඕනේ. මේ රට රාජ්‍ය ණයබරට ගොඩ එන්නට ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්
The main reasons behind our massive debt are the commercial loans obtained between 2005 and 2015, which were then invested in projects which failed to generate profits. The Chinese Catich firm was given a tender at fourfold the engineer's estimate to construct the A9 road. The Ercon firm in India was paid 400 times more than the true estimate to construct the railroad, which the Yald Devi runs on. 20 times more than the actual cost was spent to construct the road from Kadawatha to Keravalapitia. That is exactly what is happening even now. They scrapped our LRT project, given at 0.1% interest, and introduced a new process to construct a road from Dematagoda to Aturugiriya. The true cost of the road is $75 million. But we will be left to pay $1,620 million in 15 years. Such extortions will drag our country down further.
මෙන්න මේවැනි ගසා කෑම නිසා තමයි රට ආර්ථික වශයෙන් බරපතල අර්බුදයට යන්නේ.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I am Mazra Hassan with our sign language interpreter for tonight, Brian Cruz. Thank you for watching. Take care and good night.